Welcome, everyone, to the Everything Show. I am your host, Matrixlord212, and I'm with Chris. What's up, Chris?
What's up, guys?
All right, dude. So what's going on today?
All right, so we got, between the last few days, we got a bunch of stuff for Godzilla, for King of the Monsters. And some of this is kind of spoilery, I guess. It's officially released, so, I mean, I don't consider it a spoiler.
Right.
However, you guys might. So if you don't want to know anything about it, stop watching now.
Okay.
So there was an article that came out. There was basically like a media day a couple of days ago for Godzilla King of the Monsters, where the director, Michael Dougherty, was basically just talking about, some of the more hidden stuff in the marketing, stuff that we knew was there, but he went into a little more detail on it now.
Right.
The main thing was that he revealed the names of some of the other Titans or kaiju in the movie.
Oh.
And they're all new monsters. They're not Toho monsters, so we can finally put that to bed. These are new monsters. The only Toho monsters in this movie are Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah.
Right.
Obviously, Kong does not count as a Toho monster, technically.
Right.
However, he does get mentioned in the movie. They said that he is mentioned in the movie. He does not show up in the movie, but apparently there's a scene where Kyle Chandler's character is looking at some files that Monarch has, and they have a file on what they're calling Titanus Kong, which is Titanus is the name that they give to all of the Titans. For example, Titanus Mothra, Titanus Gojira, Titanus Ghidorah, that kind of thing. So all of these new Titans are named, except for one of them, are all names that come from the Bible.
Oh.
So if there's anybody who knows about the New Testament, the Old Testament, these names are going to stick out to you. Now, I don't know too much about the Bible. I've never read it myself. However, a lot of these names did stick out to me because they're things that I've heard of, studying religion and whatnot.
Okay.
So right off the bat, one of the more less creative ones, I was kind of like, it's kind of like a no-brainer, because if you know anything about the Bible, there are things. I believe both of these things were in the Book of Revelation, which is, I believe, the last part of the Bible. So one of them is called Leviathan, which I'm like, okay, that's I've heard that before. That's not too creative. I'm not upset about it. It's just like, if you're gonna name something, if you're gonna name a Titan, you're gonna name a kaiju, you make it something more creative. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
I would think so.
Any one of these could count as a Leviathan, really.
Right. Correct. Yeah. That's
but whatever. I'm assuming that one's going to be female, because I believe in the Bible they say that the Leviathan was supposed to be female and Behemoth was male. So I don't know.
Behemoth is another one, or no?
Behemoth is not another one, but that is something else that's mentioned in the Bible. Just kind of throwing that out there. So Leviathan. Another one is Abaddon, or Abaddon, I guess you can pronounce it like that. I've always heard it pronounced as Abaddon, who is another name from the Bible. I believe that this one has something to do. I think it's going to be like an insect titan, because in the Bible, I think it's in the Bible. I might be wrong about this one, but Abaddon was I believe the king of the underworld, of the pit, and the king of the locusts that are supposed to come out of the pit, during the last days of the earth and whatnot.
So is Abaddon a male or female, or it doesn't matter?
I think it's supposed to be male, because they say Abaddon is a king of these locust-like creatures that come out, and they're horrible the way that they're described in the Bible. They're not really locusts, they're horrible things.
Right.
They've got like the face of a man and a scorpion tail, that whole thing.
Right.
There's another one that I had heard a long time ago. It's like, it has something to do with being super ancient, which again is like that describes all of these things. But it's called Methuselah.
What is it called?
Methuselah. Again, I'm only going off of what I've heard people talking about it, but apparently this is something to do with someone who's super ancient in the Bible or in Jewish religion or something like that.
Is that male or female?
That one is supposed to be male, because I believe the person that they're talking about in these stories is male.
Is Mothra female?
I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
And then there's a couple other ones. One was called Typhon, which again is another name in the Bible. I've heard that this is some sort of Greek mythological creature that is supposed to be one of the most dangerous and destructive Greek mythological creatures of all.
Wow.
So I don't know what that's going to look like, but it's supposed to be pretty frightening. And
is
then
that male or female, or we don't know?
I don't think it has.
It doesn't matter. Right. Okay.
And then there's one called Scylla. That's the last one I can remember.
Scylla.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are apparently a bunch of Titans. Apparently there's more than what are named. Now whether or not we're going to see those is unknown. But Monarch does make they tell Kyle Chandler's character that they're everywhere.
Okay.
That there are Titans everywhere. So,
but they're not all awake.
Something happens in the movie that wakes them up, and I know what it is. I know what happens, and if it's true, which we're going to get into something a little bit later that basically confirms everything that I've heard about this movie. It's going to be amazing. We're all going to love it, and it's going to be great. So just
cool.
I know I just went through a Trump campaign speech there, but it's we're all going to like it. It's going to be great.
Right. You're going to make Titans great again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So to answer your question before, you asked me if Mothra was male or female in this movie.
Right.
Now, way back when, I had heard a story that was like, of course, Mothra is female.
Okay.
There's no question about it, obviously. A couple days ago, I heard a story that they were like, nope, male.
Oh.
And I was like, no, that's not happening in this movie. Mothra is female. And I don't care what anybody says.
Right. I mean, when we were kids, wasn't Mothra a female?
This is a female character. There's no, the only time Mothra was ever male was in the Rebirth of Mothra series when it was her son, Mothra Leo. That was the exception because it was a new character.
Right.
In this movie, I know it's a new universe, but let's be honest here. Michael Dougherty is a Godzilla fan. He knows that Mothra is female.
Right.
So I don't care what any articles say, Mothra is female.
Okay.
That's just it. I'm
now,
not.
Rodan is male, right?
Yes. So
and King Ghidorah is male, right?
King Ghidorah actually might be genderless.
Oh.
Which I'm fine with that because he's supposed to be an alien. So I mean, whatever.
Oh, so he's not a Titan.
He's an alien. They do consider him a Titan.
Even though he's an alien. So he is an alien. He's not from our planet.
That's what they're alluding to.
So that could be a thing after all these movies are over when they start going alien.
Well, again, we can get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Michael Dougherty, another thing that he went into a lot, other than the biggest thing in the names of the Titans and whatnot, was he talked a lot about Rodan. And he is a huge Rodan fan. Rodan is his favorite kaiju other than Godzilla. I actually think he might like Rodan a little bit more than Godzilla. He said that Rodan, and we've heard this before, he said when he went into this movie, he said, my idea for Rodan was basically to make him an atomic bomb with wings. Wow. He's that destructive. He said this Titan, this creature, like Godzilla, is not something that should exist in our world because we don't have a way to coexist with it.
Oh.
So whenever he moves, basically, he flaps his wings, it causes destruction. It just wipes things out. We've seen that in the trailer. So he loves Rodan. And he said that on a level of destruction, Rodan is comparable to Godzilla.
Wow.
So
that is... Wow.
Yeah. He said that also Rodan's scope of destruction could potentially be faster than Godzilla's because he can fly. Okay. So he can cover more ground basically twice as fast as Godzilla because Godzilla either has to swim or walk.
Right.
So I'm expecting Rodan to be possibly the show stealer in this movie. Because he loves Rodan. And it's it's starting to put this new TV spot that we saw into perspective. That was the other thing I wanted to go into. There was a new TV spot for King of the Monsters called Intimidation. And it showed Godzilla using what he has in this movie called an intimidation display, where he shines his spines without firing his atomic breath.
Oh.
So he uses it to basically intimidate other Titans, which I think is great. I think that's
let's go.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea because intimidation displays are a real thing in the animal kingdom. Yes. So I think it's great that they incorporated that into this TV spot. But of course, the biggest thing that people are talking about is there's a scene in this TV spot where Rodan and Ghidorah are flying at each other and they start fighting.
Right.
I get that now. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, Rodan's going to get destroyed. Like, there's no... Now that I heard Michael Dougherty saying all this stuff, I was thinking, maybe Rodan's going to put up a better fight than we're thinking.
Yeah.
Because he's...
Possibly.
Yeah. And then in this TV spot, there is a quote from Vera Farmiga's character where she says, "Long live the king." And this was something that was in that plot leak that I had read a long time ago.
Meaning King Ghidorah?
I don't want to say what she's talking about.
Well, didn't Charles Dance say long live the king?
He says it, but then she says it later on in the movie.
Oh, so she's the possible villain.
Yeah.
We've said this before.
So you'll see why she says that. It's really cool.
Okay.
What else was there? I think that might have been it. Other than we got the official description for Godzilla Aftershock, which basically it's the prequel to King of the Monsters. It takes place in between 2014 and King of the Monsters, and it is canon to the MonsterVerse. And it's basically just saying that there is some kind of new Titan that awakens in between these movies, and it causes basically all this destruction on the Earth. And Godzilla, of course, has to, awaken and fight.
That's canon?
This thing is. It is canon, yes.
Between King of the Monsters and Kong?
No, between Godzilla 2014 and King of the Monsters.
And King of the Monsters, okay.
Yeah. So Vera Farmiga's character is in that book as well. So it's going to be interesting to see that.
I have a question now, because we have long speculated way, a while ago, and we've talked about the final movie of the MonsterVerse being Godzilla versus Kong, and we have hoped, I guess you and I, that would continue, right? What's the odds of that today?
Okay, so that was the other thing I wanted to go into. Basically, thank you for reminding me too. There was an official answer given by one of the producers at Legendary. I believe it was Legendary. It was either Legendary or Warner Brothers.
Okay.
And somebody asked him point blank, is Godzilla vs. Kong the last movie in the MonsterVerse?
Right.
And he said, as of right now, it is. However, if Godzilla King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong do well, our idea is that it may continue.
May continue.
So
in other words, maybe they have a clause in the contract that says if this does certain amount of dollars, we have the option to renew this agreement with Toho for another 5 movies or whatever.
As far as we know, the contract definitely ends in 2020 or 2021.
Ends. No matter what.
Done.
No matter what.
Yes, they would have to renew it if they were going to go further.
But would Toho do it?
Well, here's the thing. I think there's 3 contingencies for the MonsterVerse to continue after Godzilla vs. Kong.
Okay.
Number 1, Godzilla King of the Monsters has to do very well.
Okay.
Number 2, Godzilla vs. Kong has to do very well.
Okay.
If those 2 things both happen, which is very possible, the final, and in my opinion, the most difficult thing to probably do is to convince Toho to let this continue.
Correct, because here's the thing I don't think anybody realizes. It's all about whatever ego thing they have. It doesn't matter if Godzilla King of the Monsters does $1 billion, and it doesn't matter if Godzilla vs. Kong does $1.5 billion. Okay? They could say no.
Yes.
And they probably would say no.
Yes.
Because they have this weird thing about their thing being more popular or some weird crap. Now, I got to tell you, it isn't about money with them. No. So it's a thing. It's about honor or whatever the hell it is. But I got to tell you right now, I'm really hoping that they reconsider. Because this would, I mean, right now, Godzilla is in again. You ride the wave. You ride the popularity. It will be benefit to both parties if they re-sign because it will give them more money to do more Godzilla stuff for themselves, and us as the fans would reap the rewards, basically. So the only thing that I really, really want is I really, really want Toho on their end to somehow get on their end, where they're making it, a Godzilla versus Gamera. Because that would be the ultimate main event that might possibly be more of an attention grabber than Godzilla versus Kong. Because that is what people want to see. I mean, I don't know if you agree. I'm saying after Kong.
I agree with you up until the point where you said that it was more of an attention grabber than Godzilla versus Kong. I don't agree with that because Kong is a more popular monster than Gamera.
Well, the reason why I say that is because we've seen Godzilla versus King Kong, and we know that we're getting Godzilla versus Kong, but we've never seen Godzilla versus Gamera.
Right, but the here's the thing though. As far as it grabbing more attention, I don't agree because Kong is more well known to the casual audience.
I understand that.
Godzilla vs. Gamera for kaiju and tokusatsu fans.
That's what I said in Toho. Let them do it.
Then for that audience, yes, I agree with that. Yes. But as far as like a global scale, I think Godzilla vs. Kong blows it out of the water.
Right.
Here's the problem though, and I don't necessarily say that this is a problem because it's we don't know if it's still happening, which as far as I know, it is still happening, but we haven't heard anything about it recently. I don't think we're going to hear anything about it until the end of 2020. Toho, when they last talked about it, was all in on this World of Godzilla thing that they want to do.
Right.
Where, for those of you who don't know, it's basically like the MCU with Godzilla characters. Now you're probably thinking, isn't that what the MonsterVerse is? Yes, but this is like Toho's version of it, where they basically said they want to do a Godzilla movie, a Mothra movie, a Ghidorah movie, a Rodan movie, this monster, that monster, and then at some point they cross over and then potentially all of them come together.
Right.
So my worry is that, yes, we get Godzilla King of the Monsters, we get Godzilla versus Kong, and then when it comes time for the contract to be renewed, they could do like you said. They could look at, let's say Godzilla King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong does very well, both of them. Toho could look at that and go, great, we want to do our movies now.
Yeah, we'll see in 2030.
Right.
Right. Which would be a disaster because you will lose the momentum and all that stuff. Bless you.
Now, I've heard a lot of people say that, well, if they do that, that just means we can't use Toho Kaiju and the MonsterVerse can continue with Kong. No, it can't. Because while Kong is popular, what are you going to do? You're going to make a bunch of movies where Kong fights other monsters? I don't want to see that.
That's the thing, right? While I do agree that, yes, they should do a follow-up to Kong in present day, after Godzilla vs. Kong, right?
Sure.
He doesn't have it to keep going like Godzilla does.
No.
One more movie, okay.
Sure.
But we haven't had any evidence in the past. Kong is not like Godzilla, where he's fighting monsters. I mean, we've seen it on the island, okay, but of all the evidence that we have of movies, it's like he goes up the Empire State Building, he falls off the Empire State Building or the Chrysler Building, whatever the hell it is at the time, the biggest building, he falls and he dies. And then we've had weird offshoots that he lived, and then he has a kid, or we had a weird thing that I think Toho did or something did with the Kong versus Mecha Kong or something.
Yeah, Mechanic Kong, yeah.
Was it Mechanic Kong or was it Mecha Kong?
Yeah, Mechanic Kong.
Okay, I have that too. But it's not like that. So, I mean, yes, I want to see a Kong sequel. That should happen no matter what. But I think, honestly, Toho, there should be negotiations where Toho will be like, all right, look, we will let this contract continue, right? But because we're using Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah, blah, blah, blah for this, you can't use them.
Right.
But you already used them already. But you can use any single freaking monster we've ever created for Godzilla to fight. Run free. All you want. But you cannot use them. And then that could be a thing where maybe you start thinking, all right, where do we go from here? Well, we know that King Ghidorah is an alien. So we could do a movie about the aliens coming in. Like, you want to destroy all monsters, right? That would...
Here's the thing about that. Here's the thing. Toho would not just say you can use whatever you want, because... I'm
saying hypothetically.
Well, yeah, but even so, that's not how it would work, because Legendary and Warner Brothers would have to buy the license to the monster that they want to use.
So you give them Gigan, right? Because he's like a intergalactic bounty hunter, right?
My thing is this. This is what I'm trying to get at. I think that if the MonsterVerse were going to continue after Godzilla vs. Kong, it would continue one of two ways. Let's say Toho says, yes, you can still use Godzilla for, the MonsterVerse, right? I think that if Legendary and Warner Brothers wanted to do movies where they included Toho Kaiju, other than Godzilla, they would buy the license on a movie-by-movie basis.
Okay.
So they wouldn't buy Anguirus, Gigan, Baragon, Varan, all these things at once and be like, well, we'll use them in the future.
No. See, of course, we know that the movie after Kong, it's not going to be like Destroy All Monsters. Like, you would have to have a build-up to that. So what I would propose is a trilogy, a new trilogy connected to the MonsterVerse, where you start having the aliens start, because King Ghidorah connection, and they start slowly, they come to Earth, and Godzilla has to fight their bounty hunter, like Gigan, maybe somebody else, or whatever, but it leads up to the third movie, which is like with the aliens, and then a whole bunch of monsters. Like,
I don't think we're gonna see aliens in this other than Ghidorah. Just
really?
To be honest, yes. Because
I think we will, though. I honestly do.
You want to know? You want to know why?
Why?
They're setting up this Hollow Earth idea for Godzilla vs. Kong, and
I understand that.
If the movies continue after that, that's where it's going to happen. They're going to do stuff from the Hollow Earth thing.
Okay. Well,
because they're really downplaying the fact that Ghidorah is an alien. Like they do apparently in the movie they do not say he's an alien. They just make subtle references to things that make you think, oh, he's an alien.
So it's not official that he's an alien.
It's not official, but they give you enough clues to kind of make you come to that conclusion. Like they compare him to a falling star.
Okay.
And they say that, I think at one point they say that his body is made up of elements that are not commonly found on Earth.
Okay.
So they give you this, like, is he from Earth? Is he not from Earth? And if he's not from Earth, where is he from? Kind of thing. But apparently, at no point does any of the characters say he's an alien or something like that.
Let me ask you another question now. You're given 3 movies after Kong.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Me? The next movie would be a new Titan. The next movie would be a new Titan.
A new Titan?
A new Titan. Because here's my thing. You've thrown so much into Godzilla King of the Monsters from Toho.
Right.
You've set up the idea that there are more Titans out there than just these 4 and the Mutos and Kong, right?
Okay.
My goal would be to set up a new Titan that is new, obviously, and has some sort of way to counter Godzilla's nuclear abilities to make it more difficult for him to defeat this Titan. That way, you can show that this version of Godzilla is far more creative than other ones and does not have to rely on his main atomic breath, yada yada, in order to defeat this Titan.
So immediately following Kong, you would have a brand new Titan.
Brand new Titan.
And then what about movie 2?
Movie 2, then I would go something with Toho. I would probably go, if they don't use Destroyer in Godzilla vs. Kong, I would probably use Destroyer, or I would use Biollante. Because I've had an idea.
Well, what about Space Godzilla? You don't like Space Godzilla?
Space Godzilla ruins this MonsterVerse. If
really?
he shows up in this MonsterVerse, it's ruined.
But Space Godzilla is Biollante.
Sort of.
Well, it is. It's Biollante going into a black hole, whatever, crystal. Right. Like
it's Biollante plus crystalline alien. My thing is this, right? If I'm in charge of the MonsterVerse, I have one rule, and that one rule is we never introduce aliens into this MonsterVerse.
Wow.
Because this is my thing. The point of the MonsterVerse was to try and ground this to a point where it was believable, right? We are pushing the envelope with King of the Monsters. Like, I'm willing to admit that. This movie is pushing the envelope for what can be grounded.
Why would it be believable, though? Because, I mean, here's the thing now, and I'm not trying to, like, do something off topic and off everything shit off movies, but, like, there's, like, an uncalculated amount of planets out there. Yep. Like, the odds are that there's aliens out there is, like, it's definitely, like, almost there, right?
I believe that, and I believe that they've been to this planet and are coming to this planet in reality.
Right.
I believe
it's
that.
Like pit stopping, and all right, let's go to this planet now. But, like, the thing is that, why would that be so hard or difficult to believe, though?
Because you're already asking the audience to buy enough with the fact that there are giant monsters.
But you see, here's the thing, though. We live in a world where they just did a time travel experiment yesterday, and they reversed time for, like, with particles. I mean, like, this stuff is that we thought was craziness that would never happen is becoming a reality, like cloning, all these different things. So why wouldn't we believe that, though?
You can sell it to the audience to a point, but my thing is that what they're trying to do, and that is literally been the common thread in everything that they've done, is that they're trying to ground this to the point where you could buy it. You could say, yes, I understand that. And my evidence to back that up is literally why Gareth Edwards made the movie and why all the monsters are ancient super species rather than mutations or things that, you know, come from from space or whatnot. Ghidorah is the exception. But again, they're not blatantly saying Ghidorah is an alien. He might not be an alien.
Right.
My thing is this. Now, okay, so you're trying to ground the monsters in reality.
Right.
All of a sudden, aliens invade the planet.
I mean,
how do you ground aliens? You know, it's like
right. Well,
it's the same argument that I have against Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla introduced into the MonsterVerse ruins the MonsterVerse because it doesn't make sense. Why would you build a robot that looks like Godzilla?
Well, it wouldn't make sense now. In this incarnation of this monster.
In this version of the story, it just doesn't make sense.
It wouldn't make sense because he's the hero, technically, right?
Right.
So it wouldn't make right unless the aliens did it.
Right. But that right there is like the ultimate end of the MonsterVerse. If you have aliens come down and they have a Mechagodzilla, it's done. At that point,
that's the thing. It's like if you basically have a thing that King Ghidorah was these aliens' main thing, right? That they use this thing to strike fear in different planets and everything. But it just came to Earth because he wanted to fight Godzilla and didn't listen to them. You could do the argument that they come here, they're pissed off that King Ghidorah is dead or whatever, which may happen, we don't know. And then they build a Mechagodzilla to take out Godzilla. Like, that could be the plot. Maybe. I don't know.
Potentially. I just... Whenever I hear aliens in the MonsterVerse. It just makes me like it kind of makes me grit my teeth because I'm like, that's a very slippery slope.
Right.
And if you're not careful, the movie falls down that slope. And
see, I mean, you could have Gigan be the bounty hunter that he escapes at the end of the movie and brings back intel to the alien.
I think if Gigan were ever introduced into the MonsterVerse, he would be radically different than we've ever seen. Like, his origin would be totally different than what we saw. And I'll give you an example of that. In the Godzilla anime universe, he's not an alien.
Okay.
And he doesn't start out as Gigan, like the way we know him. He starts out as basically like an aquatic dinosaur.
Oh, God.
And he gets his arms ripped off by Godzilla the first time they fight. And then they replace his arms with scythes. And then he fights Godzilla again and gets completely obliterated, basically. So then they rebuild him into the kind of like Gigan we know. He fights Godzilla again, loses again. Then he fights Godzilla for a fourth time with like the chainsaws and stuff. And that's when Godzilla just like deatomizes him.
Right.
To the point where he can't come back. So that to me means that what I'm seeing from Toho, which is scary, it's a scary thing, is that like super tight, like you can't do this with Godzilla, is gone. And they're letting people do whatever the hell they want.
Right.
So if they were like, you want to use Gigan? And Legendary was like, yeah, we want to change his origin. The old Toho would be like, no. But this Toho would be like, yeah, do whatever you want.
Right.
So I think that Gigan would just be another super species that lived in the ancient times. And instead of being a cyborg, he would just have like bone-like protrusions that look like scythes or something like that.
Okay.
They could do whatever they want, really. I mean, I had an idea for Hedorah.
Right.
Where instead of him being a smog monster, he would be based off of these bacteria that they have in reality that are supposed to be able to like neutralize crude oil for like oil spills.
Right.
There's a way that you can use them to also neutralize radiation.
Oh, okay.
So I was saying that it would be some kind of like man-made radiation neutralizing bacteria, kind of like the anti-nuclear energy bacteria from Godzilla vs. Biollante, that goes haywire and it starts to throw off the balance, and of course Godzilla has to fight it. But because it's nuclear neutralizing bacteria, it can neutralize Godzilla's abilities.
Oh.
And now, every time he basically fights this thing, it feeds off of his radiation that he naturally produces and gets stronger. So now you have a villain that basically feeds off of Godzilla's energy and becomes more powerful.
Wasn't that like what Orga was? Kind of
sort of, but like its goal is not to absorb Godzilla. Its main goal is to basically destroy Godzilla because it thinks that he's some sort of nuclear accident.
Okay.
So it basically goes haywire, and now you have Godzilla versus Hedorah in a way that I think is somewhat grounded.
So if you did 3 movies, you would have a new monster, but then who would the other monsters be?
So I would do a new monster in, let's say, Godzilla 3, let's say. Then in Godzilla quote-unquote 4, I would probably do, if they didn't do Destroya already, I would do Destroya.
What do you mean Godzilla 3? What do you mean Godzilla 3?
Okay, so like Godzilla 2014 is what I consider Godzilla 1.
Right.
Godzilla King of the Monsters is what I consider Godzilla 2.
Right.
Godzilla vs. Kong I consider a crossover movie, so that's neither Godzilla's movie nor Kong's movie. It's both.
Really? I consider it a Godzilla movie. I don't consider it a Kong movie.
They're considering it a crossover event, so it's not. Oh. It's not Godzilla's movie. It's both of their movies.
All right.
So the movie following Godzilla vs. Kong, if it was a Godzilla film, I would consider that Godzilla 3.
Okay.
Then the movie after that would be Godzilla 4. And then I wouldn't do a Godzilla 5. At that point, I would have tried to set up Destroy All Monsters.
Okay.
And my idea...
So one monster would be new, but then no, you wouldn't mention any other monsters?
Oh, no, I would mention the other monsters. I just wouldn't have them be prominent in the movie.
But who would he fight, though, in the other movies, though?
In the Godzilla 3, he would fight a new monster.
Right, but what about 4?
4, he would fight a Toho monster.
But who, though?
I said either Destroyer or Biollante.
All right. And in Destroy All Monsters, if you did that,
so
you would
Destroy All
Monsters,
I can't explain my Destroy All Monsters plot because if I do, I will spoil Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Okay, so don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But your Destroy All Monsters would have Mothra and all of them in it?
I'm gonna hold off answering that.
Okay, don't answer that.
If I say what I would do,
right? Because you know who lives. You know who lives and dies.
It's not that I know who lives or dies. There's something that happens in Godzilla King of the Monsters that is integral to my idea for Destroy All Monsters.
Say no more.
Mm-hmm.
Say no more. Okay. Now we got Legendary. Talking about Toho. They're not doing Shin Gojira 2, right?
At the moment, no.
What is the next Godzilla movie they are doing?
It would be whatever the first movie in the world of Godzilla would be.
And what is that?
So, if I was in charge of the world of Godzilla, because we don't know what they're doing right now. We're just speculating.
Okay.
What I would do is the first movie would be a Godzilla film.
Okay.
However, the best stories are told when you start with the story that has already begun. Okay? I would not do another Godzilla origin story.
Yeah.
Because we saw that with Shin Gojira. 2014 was kind of another origin.
Yeah, no.
I would do a world that has already been dealing with Godzilla.
Right.
For years.
Okay.
And what my idea would be, you kind of red herring people with this idea, where you have Godzilla in the movie, you have one of his old enemies. I'd prefer a new monster, but if they wanted to do old monster, pick someone that he doesn't fight all the time. Like, I don't want this first movie to be like Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
Right.
I'm sick of Mechagodzilla, like, for real.
See, you know what I don't like? Here's the thing. When we were talking about the Legendary Monsters, right? And this relates to Toho, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you say, like, Leviathan and all this other stuff, right? These monsters are created, but they're not created where they could be part of Godzilla's rogue gallery, like as a regular, reoccurring. I want someone to create a monster like that. Like, I would have loved to seen that Griffin thing, right?
Oh, I know. The Griffin was fantastic.
Right. So my thing is, if you're able to do the Griffin thing, and you put that in your movie, right? I would love that, right? But I don't want to see him fight like Mutos, or I want a creation that you actually have been spending time developing. I want the next. Here's the thing: like when we were kids, right? And we were like, "Oh wow, Megalon! Oh wow, this." I want something. I want a whole bunch of new monsters that like would be so freaking cool that we could just want to buy an action figure of it or play it in a video game or it appear again. You know?
That's why I want that. That's why in my mind, in my version of this, the next monster after Kong would be a new monster. And in the world of Godzilla, we know Toho can do this. It's not a question of if they could make new monsters. But you want to know what the issue is? They have no incentive to.
Why?
Because us Godzilla fans, myself included, whenever we hear new version of Ghidorah, we're there.
I know that, but
up to see it.
It's like too with the comic books, right? You would love to have new stuff.
Yes.
But you don't have that anymore because the writers know or the artists know if they create it, Marvel's making billions of dollars off of it, and they're not making anything, so they don't create it. And it's just like, oh, this one has a Venom symbiote. Oh, this one has a Venom symbiote. And it's the same characters over and over and over again with hardly any new ones because Marvel doesn't put in place a thing for them to make money off of it. So
right.
I would want new damn characters. I would want new monsters that are good, though. Like, I am so against creating a monster that's forgettable.
Right.
Like, I don't even want to waste my time with that, because after we're going to see, you and I, we're going to see King of Monsters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to see Kong, right?
Mm-hmm.
The level is elevated, okay? So if you do a Godzilla vs. Mutos again, after we go through all these movies, we're going to be pissed off. Like,
Yeah,
it's up here right now. So you got to go higher.
Yeah. And here's my thing though, and if they did a Godzilla 3 and they did a new monster, it would have to be, you're right, it would have to be something that's more threatening than the Mutos, and something that's, you know, on Godzilla's level. Here's the problem, and this is where I'm seeing they hit the gas too soon.
Okay.
Look at King of the Monsters.
Right.
You don't get any bigger than that.
That's like the freaking Destroy All Monsters type of thing. Like,
right.
All of them in it.
I've been saying this for a while. I know how this movie goes. I read the plot leak.
Okay.
The amount of shit, like in a good way, that's in this movie, none of you, unless you've read the plot leak, have scratched the surface.
Right.
There are things, and we've talked about it, there are things in this movie that come from Godzilla lore that's like, I never thought I would see that again.
Right.
And it's in this movie. And it's done well from what I've read.
Yes.
I don't know how it plays out on the screen, but
yes.
So in my mind, and other people said this before me, you look at King of the Monsters and it's like, good lord, like they put all this in this movie.
Right.
And then it's like, we're following up with Godzilla versus Kong. And it's like,
I know what you're saying. Yes. It's like
Kong, like, because this is my thing. If you put Kong against Ghidorah, he dies.
Correct.
Quite rapidly.
Correct.
He doesn't. I don't want to hear, well, he might have lightning powers. Well, he might. No. From what I've read,
right,
Kong dies.
Correct.
Ghidorah solos all of Skull Island by himself.
Right. King Ghidorah, you would need multiple people to fight King Ghidorah. Like, he's
right.
He's like the Thanos of the thing, basically.
Basically, yeah. So my thing is this. It's like, okay, so we go from Godzilla King of the Monsters to Godzilla versus Kong. Where do you go from there?
See, and another thing, too, with that is, if Kong wins, like, that's bullshit as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know. I've been trying to think of a way, because I am a firm believer that Kong is going to win in this movie.
That's bullshit, though. Totally.
I'm trying to figure out, again, reading the plot leak from Godzilla King of the Monsters, I'm trying to figure out how Kong even comes close to Godzilla's level.
Right, exactly.
Like, unless they, and this is the worry I have, unless they give him some sort of ridiculous ability, like he's like radiation proof or something, which I could see them doing it. I can. I just don't know.
I don't see how Kong won't be on the barbecue. And
exactly.
Like, that's like, I mean, I'm sorry.
Because we know a lot of people say, well, Kong wasn't fully grown.
Yeah, fine. But that doesn't matter, though.
But my thing is this. We've seen fully grown Kongs in the MonsterVerse. In the Kong prequel comic or right. Sequel technically. We see Kong's parents. We see a whole tribe of adult Kongs.
Right.
They don't have any special abilities.
It doesn't matter how big he is. Like, Godzilla is going to, all Godzilla has to do is just like burn him. He's done. Like, he's done. Like, even if he grabs him and he burns him, he's done.
And then people are like, well, Kong will have the speed advantage. And I was like, did you see Godzilla running at the end of the trailer?
Right.
He charges Ghidorah pretty quickly. So I don't want to hear speed advantage Kong because it's not there anymore.
So, I mean, the thing I have a feeling is going to happen is, I have a feeling that if Godzilla's fighting Kong, there's going to be a monster in there.
I think it's going to be. I am sold on the fact that it's going to be Destroyer.
Right.
Really, I am.
Because there's no way that that battle is going to have a clear-cut winner, because it's going to be a thing where maybe we won't even have a winner. Maybe it's just going to be they stop and they fight Destroyer, and then that's it.
I agree, because I can't.
They're not. It's just a thing. It's no way that. First of all, I'm expecting Godzilla to win because they didn't even want Kong to be called King, really, because there's only one King. Is that Godzilla, King of the Monsters? That's who he is, and King Ghidorah. But Kong, they don't even feel is in the damn level to be even called King Kong.
Yeah,
so
he rules over Skull Island, but that's kind of where his jurisdiction.
But they will not. It's so funny how they'll go about and they will not call him King Kong.
Well, I don't think they can. Like, legally, I don't think they're allowed to, because King Kong implies a different character.
Oh, so in other words, but I thought it's a public domain.
It is, but there's some weird thing where they can't say King Kong or something like that. I know they couldn't call the movie King Kong because
technically he's not King Kong, or he's his own.
He is the character. They just can't name him that.
I got you.
It's like the mutants thing, although that might not be a thing anymore.
It's like Jason Voorhees. You can't say he's Voorhees. No,
basically.
That's a whole other lawsuit thing.
Basically.
Okay, yeah, right.
I just don't see. I don't see like a logic that's like Kong has to win because of this. Like, it just.
I don't see him winning at all. I mean, okay, in the classic one, right? They made Kong win, right?
Yes.
Like, definitively. But wasn't there another version of that, or no? Because I thought there was always another version.
No, there's not. That's been a rumor that's been in the Godzilla fandom for years.
That's not. It doesn't exist.
It does not exist. There's not a version where they say Godzilla won. There's
like
not
they don't have their own version in Godzilla 1.
No, because in the official script it says, and the victor is King Kong.
Okay, so they did that because at the time King Kong was more popular than Godzilla, right?
Yes, and there's two things about that. Technically, that was a Kong movie.
King Kong versus Godzilla, right?
Yes, and in that movie, Godzilla was the greater threat.
Right.
And they said that if either one of them was going to win, it would have to be Kong, because he does not have the intention of destroying civilization.
Gotcha.
Godzilla, on the other hand, can and probably will destroy our civilization.
Correct.
So here's the thing, though. In the MonsterVerse, Godzilla is the clear protagonist of his movies, and Kong is the protagonist in his movie. Now you have two protagonists fighting each other. What are you missing there? You're missing
Kong's the villain,
antagonist.
Though. Kong's the villain, though.
No, they said that Kong is a reluctant protagonist.
Well, so in other words, he's out of Skull Island now.
I think he has to be.
And so, like, I don't know. All I know is that I don't know. See, I'm more looking forward to King of the Monsters than I'm doing. It's crazy.
Oh, me too. What worries me about that, though, is when they start saying that Kong is a reluctant protagonist, but they're not saying anything about Godzilla, that makes me worry that somehow they're turning Godzilla into the villain here.
Right. And don't get me wrong, because you know me for a long time, and even before you knew me, I was doing this video saying this was happening, this movie.
Oh, yeah, you called this years ago.
I mean, a long time ago. Right. So I've been dying for this movie for a long time. And I'm going to be very happy to finally see it. So, wow. I just want the MonsterVerse to continue. That's my main thing.
Me too. I want it to continue as long as they don't add anything in there that, like, completely derails it or something, you know?
Because right now, Godzilla is more popular than Kong. Kong's popularity kind of...
Yeah, I would say I think Godzilla is more marketable because you can put him in movies where he fights other monsters, and that's his thing. Like, Godzilla fights other monsters. You know what I'm saying? Kong, it's like he falls off the building. You know, that's
you know what it is? They didn't really do enough with him, and then people now it's like he's people are forgetting basically. I mean, yes, Skull Island, okay, but still, even then, people know Godzilla now more than anything.
Yeah, I think that if you gathered up the casual audience, right, and you took a vote of who would you rather see? Do you want the MonsterVerse to continue with Godzilla, or do you want the MonsterVerse to continue with Kong? People are going to go Godzilla.
Yeah, but also people too, like, they'll recognize the name King Kong.
Right.
But they don't really recognize the name Kong, though. I mean,
I think they would. I think that if you
don't know
if you say Kong, because Kong Skull Island did very well.
No, I know, but if like you say Godzilla vs. Kong, they'll recognize Kong, King Kong. But if you just say Kong, it's you don't know if that's.
I don't know. I think the audience is a bit smarter than that. I
don't know.
I think they know what like you say Kong, someone's gonna be like King Kong or Donkey Kong,
well,
like,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Donkey Kong might be more popular.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean,
yeah,
technically.
So. But that's only because they haven't done stuff with him,
right?
As much as Godzilla have movies, Well,
again, you know what it is. It's again, I think it's because Godzilla is more marketable. Like you.
So now nobody else could do a Kong movie. Just call him Kong because Legendary has the rights to the name Kong, right?
I think anybody can do a King Kong movie, but if you're going to use the character Kong, that falls into, hey, this is the character from the MonsterVerse, and now
right. So in other words, anybody that wants to do a Kong movie has to be a King Kong movie.
As far as I know, yes.
But then who owns that? If it is public domain, then that means that this movie company can't use that, right? But the public can, right?
Yeah. You can't make a movie called Kong something because now you're talking about the MonsterVerse character.
So it has to be King Kong.
As far as I know, yes.
Now, could they do a big motion picture King Kong movie? Probably, right?
I'm sure they can. Yeah, I'm sure.
But they just.
I know it'd probably be Universal, but
But nobody could do. Well, nobody could do a movie Godzilla without.
Oh no, you need Toho. You need Toho.
With the exception of Marvel Comics that put American flag on.
Well,
all right, we're not going to get into that. That was ugly.
That'll be phase 17. But
they got in trouble. That was the end of that. All right. So anyway, Cloverfield, man, that's the next one. Let's go. Godzilla vs. Cloverfield. No.
Honestly, though, if Bad Robot sold Clover to Legendary, I would love to see that in the MonsterVerse.
Right. Okay. You know what was weird? I think I was passing by. I think it was in a Barnes and Noble, and they packaged Pacific Rim. I think they packaged it with Godzilla stuff or something.
Oh boy,
it was weird. I saw something and I was like, "How could that be packaged? Is it the same company or no?" I don't think it's the same company, right? Like I have to look.
Yeah, Legendary did both Godzilla and Pacific Rim, so I'm assuming that's why they were able to do that because I've seen
them together.
Yeah, I've seen like Godzilla and Kong Skull Island packaged together. So I mean, I think that.
But they're not part of the same universe. They're not going to do that, though, right?
Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
They talked about it at one point, but then Pacific Rim Uprising happened, and that went away.
Right, because that bombed basically.
Oh, it was terrible. It was. I when I first saw it, I thought it was okay, but then I started thinking about it, and I was like, "Oh, well, it's really bad. It's a really bad movie." Yeah.
All right, that's it. Are we're sticking on Godzilla? We're gonna end it, or what do you want to do? You gotta go.
No, that was really all I had. Because there's not really too much. I mean, Star Wars Celebration is coming up, so that's we'll have more information.
I guess we could add a little bit to this. Captain Marvel. Slowing down dramatically, and my calculation was off. I thought it would have made $1 billion already by Sunday, and that's Us, which I saw that movie Us, by the way. And it was excellent.
Yeah, I gotta see it.
That wrecked Captain Marvel. I'm not for nothing. It knocked her off the top spot, and it kind of affected her box office wise. And now it's real. She's really dropped. Even though she's number 2, the drop is significant because even Monday or Tuesday, you would think that she would cross $1 billion. But no, she's making a lot less money every day now, which is, you would think, oh, she's so close to it, she's going to get $1 billion. I don't know now because the thing is that her percentage, it just, once Us came, that was it. She's dropping like more than 50%, more than even that.
Wow.
At an alarming rate. And maybe she has 2 weeks left in the movies, I guess. I mean, we're talking about soon she's going to be generating maybe $1 million a day, which when you start to get to that soon, then it's thousands and everything. So I don't know how much more money she can make overseas, but I think she made enough overseas. I think that I don't even know right now she stands at she made $590 million overseas.
Yeah,
and she made it's 914. So I'm hoping she does $1 billion, but right now, maybe she'll squeak out 30 million this week. But I don't know unless we get overseas numbers because it's going to take I don't know. Will she make $1 billion? Do you think?
Well, here's the thing. Next week, Shazam comes out.
Right. And well, we got Dumbo this week.
Dumbo, that's true too. Yeah.
But we got bad reviews for Dumbo though.
Did it?
Yeah. From what I saw, people were like, "Oh no." So I mean, here's the thing, and we're gonna have to go deep into that when we research all these stories and what the reviews are. But from what I'm hearing, oh no. Well, it's probably.
I was gonna say Shazam comes out next week, and I know some people who saw it, and they were like, "It is phenomenal."
Right.
And I was like, what? And then I saw some reviews online that were like, it blows Captain Marvel out of the water.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think what's gonna happen is on Friday, Us is staying #1 as far as I'm concerned. Probably. Because I gotta tell you right now, I don't know if you're gonna go see it, but to me, and I love horror movies. Yeah. This was original. This was amazing. This blew records like you wouldn't believe. I mean, it is something I would see again. And that's very rare for a horror movie to go back and say, I'll see it again.
It looks like it has more effort put into it than a lot of horror movies that we were getting,
Yes.
Or then, I should say. Because it was an original idea that, it was kind of grounded in okay, sure. Right. With all these other horror movies, it's like a jump scare, jump scare. And it's like, okay.
And they're not trying to do that. They're just trying to mess with your brain. So, the whole thing is, I do feel that quite possibly Us may even make more money than last week, which sometimes happens, though, because word of mouth, people are going to go crazy with this movie. I honestly think that Dumbo may be #2, which would hurt Captain Marvel still because now she's dropping further. Now, I don't see Dumbo coming in at #3. I'm sorry, because it's Tim Burton, and I really don't.
Oh, people are going to go see that. They're going to go.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it will be #1, but and then drop. But I do feel that Captain Marvel's got to do something real fast because
what might happen? Dumbo might be #1 for a little bit, and then if the word of mouth is not good, then it might drop.
That might happen. It might be for the weekend, and then also on Monday, also be back to #1.
Yeah, right. Because people will say, "Don't go see Dumbo, go see Us."
Right, and then I'm gonna tell you right now, Shazam is gonna knock everybody out of the water.
I think so. Yeah,
Shazam's gonna be #1, and then Us is gonna be #2, and Dumbo's gonna be #3, and Captain Marvel's gonna be #4. So she's got to really pull this out. And the people that said that, oh, she's gonna get $1 billion right away. Honestly, people get a little worried now that said that because, and you got to think of something too. Us wasn't a type, Us is an original thing, right?
Yes.
So original thing, it wasn't like Avengers Endgame, it knocked Captain Marvel off her ass, totally. So, all these movies are coming out, she's gonna be done. So, now, it's like change. It's like, oh. She $2 million today, $2 million tomorrow. You still got to do 80 million or more, 90, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing, though, right? I mean, if the movie doesn't reach $1 billion, is it really a big deal?
Well,
I don't think so.
We wouldn't ordinarily think that, but companies are different, though. Remember how Age of Ultron did 100 million less than.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. I mean, Avengers did 1,500,000,000, and it did like 1,400,000,000.
Yes.
So how could you say that Age of Ultron was a failure? But they're like, oh no, it didn't do better, right?
Yeah.
So, this whole thing about them talking smack about her being a billion, and then if she doesn't do that, that will significantly affect Marvel.
Well,
because they've been blasting that she probably will do $1 billion.
And so on that point, yes, I agree there. My thing is this though, it's a little bit different for Captain Marvel because this is the first movie that she's leading, right. So they don't have anything to compare to. That example would be more valid if we were talking about Captain Marvel 2, and that didn't do, like, let's say Captain Marvel did $1 billion and then Captain Marvel 2 didn't. That's right. Where that argument comes into play. However, this movie has already beaten a lot of other Marvel movies, box office wise.
Correct.
So I don't think that they would consider this a failure at all. I think
I didn't say failure, but I mean it's not a failure because it did make them a lot of money. But
I'm just saying I don't think it's like a big deal if the movie doesn't make $1 billion. I think it's
well. Let's look at this for a second because let's first of all, it probably cost like $250 to make, right?
Probably.
Now, domestically, it made $323 million.
Yeah.
So that's not that much of a profit if you're just going by domestic, right?
For a Marvel movie, no.
No. But now here's the thing. The foreign numbers, right? Let's just round it off to $600 million, right?
Sure.
They're not getting $600 million.
No.
They're getting like what? Half that? Are they getting half that?
A little bit more than that, but yeah.
All right, so I mean, they'll get $300 million or $400 million, but still, I don't know, man. I think that ultimately, because isn't this like sort of like Pacific Rim made less money, but then it made more foreign numbers to guarantee the sequel, right?
Basically, the foreign numbers saved it,
right?
To the point where they made a sequel, but that sequel was difficult to make, though. Like you got to remember, I mean. Pacific Rim came out in 2013.
Yeah.
And I think Pacific Rim Uprising came out in what was it, 16 or 17?
Right. But here's the thing, too. Wonder Woman, 412 domestically.
Right.
And they said her budget was $149 million.
Right.
So right off the bat, that's super profitable, right? Because you look at the domestic number, right?
Yeah.
So, domestically, she would have to make.
Here's the thing. Right, Wonder Woman didn't have the lead actress just saying things that she shouldn't be saying.
Correct.
And Wonder Woman, in my opinion, had a more effective marketing strategy.
Yes.
Look at the trailers and the TV spots for Wonder Woman. Right.
Yeah.
Compare them to what the trailers and the TV spots for Captain Marvel.
Right.
Wonder Woman puts her to bed.
Oh, I know.
Like, it's not even funny.
I know.
Not to mention,
in other words, you think
a movie. But
now you think Brie Larson, if she didn't say all this garbage, it would have been $1 billion?
I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say I think that what she said did make a portion of the audience go, "I'm out." Like, I'm not going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
no, I know.
I
almost didn't go see it either.
Yeah.
But my kids like my son Joe was like, "Dad, you got it." Like, and I was like, "All right," and I went that day. I was like, but yeah.
Well, I know a lot of critics, like professional critics, did not like it. They said that it was not a good step in the right direction.
See, I liked it a lot, but I can understand the argument.
Yeah, I think that partially because there's a large part or a large portion of the audience for every movie that listens to what professional critics say and decide whether or not they're going to go see a movie or not based on what they say. Right. So when you have these reviewers on YouTube who have 1 million+ subscribers,
yeah,
and they come on here and they're like, "I just saw it. It sucks."
Well, that's the thing. That's a big influence to YouTubers.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got to tell you, when I saw the Captain Marvel thing, I really liked Rowan the Accuser in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I am like, look at this guy. He sucks.
He sucked in this.
He
was terrible. And
I'm like, oh my god, dude, why?
He shouldn't have been in the movie.
He shouldn't have been. No, he shouldn't have been. They should have been some other, because they were all looking the same, He should have been somebody else, like maybe his first in command or something.
I honestly think they threw him in there, and just because he was like a Kree that they that they had used before.
The other guy's in there from Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Yeah,
the guy that fought Star-Lord in the beginning when he got the remember.
Yeah.
That's the same character. So like they're both in it.
Yeah, the guy goes who and
right exactly. So I still don't even know his name, but okay, whatever. But yeah, so like I was not happy about it. And originally I wasn't happy about the Nick Fury thing. Spoilers, guys, for Captain Marvel, by the way. But like but it is funny because you could see that in reality that he's talking like he's a tough guy, but he got his eye taken out by a cat alien. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I accept that.
I can see that in reality.
I can see that in reality. Right.
What I can't see in reality is said person then adopting that cat as a pet.
Yeah, that doesn't. Well, I mean, the argument could be he adopted it because it swallowed the Tesseract. Because he's not going to let the cat go.
That would imply that he knew it was going to eventually come out. And
no, but see, the thing is, though, like, it swallowed it, and it's like, would you really let the cat go and then somebody open up the cat and take it out? Like, kill the cat?
The cat is apparently threat level maximum, so who's going to do that?
I know, but would he really want that cat to be on the street? So I think he adopted it.
I'm not saying put it on the street. I'm saying.
No, but I'm saying I think he adopted it purposely because it was a threat.
Yeah, no,
he didn't want anybody else to do it. Right.
I understand that, but my thing is though that thing would not be walking around my office.
Let me ask you a question: where is the cat in present Marvel time? Like, it's not when it wasn't when Nick Fury.
Exploded. I hope it exploded. I really.
They were saying something about Winter Soldier. Like, did the cat be with Winter Soldier? I mean, like, I don't understand. Where did the cat go? Because we didn't see. He would have been in Avengers if that was the case.
Yeah,
well, with Nick Fury.
I don't know. All I'm saying is that cat did what it did in that movie. That thing would have been in like quadruple lockdown if I was in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like that thing would not
put a muzzle on it. That's a little ridiculous. Yeah,
that thing would have been so far into the Earth's core.
Right.
Nobody would be able to get to it. Then when it spit out the Tesseract, then we take it and we obliterate the cat. But yeah,
right. You don't like Goose at all.
I don't. I think that it is a sad attempt at comedy. Just to have comedy in the movie.
Right.
It is one of those things that just, to me, sticks out like a sore thumb. It's like either it's something, and look, listen, okay, people have been trying to explain this to me, and not you, but a lot of people are missing my point.
Right.
I'm not saying that the species that the cat is cannot swallow the Tesseract. I'm not saying that it physically can't do that. I know it can do that. I understand that it is a physical possibility in the MCU. What I'm saying is that it should not have been a plot point in the movie.
Correct. Yeah.
Because you're making the stone look bad.
Well, the stone is kind of housed in the, like, you know what I'm saying? It's
okay, but here's my thing though, right? If you look at like when the Red Skull grabbed it and stuff and it went haywire.
Yeah, right.
I know that it had influence on it before.
Well, he had a glove on, first of all. He didn't grab it with his bare hands.
No, I'm talking about at the end of the movie when it shot him into, now we know it sent him to Vormir.
Right, now we know he's, yeah.
Right. We know that the Infinity Stones have some sort of intelligence. Like they know what's happening to them. Why would this one let the cat swallow it?
Well, see, here's the argument about the stones having intelligence. Because it's not, I mean, you consider the stones being an entity? Like alive? Because that's a whole...
They have some sort of awareness. We've seen that in past movies.
Right.
We've seen that with the Ether. We've seen that with the Mind Stone, the Tesseract itself.
See, like in the current comic, Adam Warlock basically made the gems have consciousness. Like, in other words, in the thing, it needed a seventh gem to make that consciousness of all the gems, made the consciousness of that nemesis being, which was the infinity being. But now in the comics, each gem is now a person, not even a gem. It's a consciousness. So like this wouldn't happen again with the Gauntlet because then you would have to kill the person that the gem is. But in the Marvel Universe, it having a consciousness, see, if it had a consciousness, it would rebel against Thanos, though.
Potentially.
And that's kind of a, I wouldn't think they would do that.
Well, you could look at the Infinity Gauntlet as kind of rendering that useless, though. It kind of adds another layer onto them that way. My thing is just this, right? It's like somebody in wrestling, right? Winning the WWE Championship, right? And they have the belt. And then one day, they're using the belt as like a dinner plate. And you're like, why the fuck are you doing that?
You're disrespecting the belt.
That's the WWE Championship. What are you doing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I see Goose swallow the Tesseract, I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
That's one of the things that wiped out half the universe.
Well, yes. When it's not in that thing. When it's like not encased in, you know what I'm saying?
It's inside the cube.
But that's the whole thing. It's without it being in there, yes.
I even had an issue in Guardians of the Galaxy when they were throwing around the Power Stone in the orb. I was like, what are you doing?
Well, when Star-Lord grabbed it, he was able to grab it because he was...
No. I mean in the orb. Before they knew it was there, he was like tossing it around.
Well, see, the thing is, that's what I'm trying to say is like, the thing that it's encased in kind of like nullifies the powers a little bit. Where
No. I know that. But what I'm saying is that if we know that that's what's inside the cube, the orb, the staff, you can't make those things into jokes.
Right.
Because that is the point of the movie. That is the thing that they are fighting over. If you make that into a joke, why should I care? Why do I don't care at that point? Because it's like, well, it's obviously not that important. So
see me, when I saw Captain America, the first Avenger, right? I was pissed off because the cosmic cube is a thing.
Yes.
That's not
an Infinity Stone.
Right. In fact, Thanos went after the cosmic cube, I believe, before the Gauntlet, right? Because they have the statue and he's holding the cube, you know? Before the Infinity Gauntlet thing, he went for the cube, right? So when they did the thing, I'm like, great, now we can have the cosmic cube now because it looks like they call it the Tesseract, you know? So I was pissed with that because I'm like, great. Because that's another thing. It's a separate thing, you know? And I felt we're ruined now. We can never have a cosmic cube now. And that was the whole point is like in the MCU, Red Skull is always trying to have the cosmic cube. Which that's the thing that's behind Hydra Cap. Is they created a whole another Captain America with the cube. You know? So anyway, I'm babbling. But
all good.
yeah, so it's swallowing the Tesseract. It did it for a joke. And it was kind of a, you know. Well, here's another thing now I have to ask you. Could she carry a second movie? Because what the hell is she going to do?
So, do I think she could carry a second movie? Yes. With the caveat that it's a different writer and a different director.
Okay.
Because the way that she was presented, again, this is my opinion. The way she was presented in this movie, I would not want to see another movie with her.
Correct. I mean, I love the movie, but it can't be the same thing the next time.
That's why I'm hoping that the Russos will do something with her to make her a better character. Because if that is the case, then I will be all for Captain Marvel 2.
Well, she's now been in the universe for decades. So basically, she would have changed.
I hope so.
You know. Which is another thing now, because now everybody on Earth, she don't really know other than Nick Fury and Agent Coulson. But, this I have to throw this in there. Because this came up again. You know how we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes.
Okay. And you know how Joss Whedon, who was behind that, right, he said, like, when he first did it, that Agent Coulson was alive, and we're like, well, what do you mean? What the hell, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Why don't we have... And then it was revealed that that's probably an alternate reality, right? So,
Allegedly.
Well, allegedly, which the actors themselves were annoyed because they're like, well, what's the answer, Marvel? And now the thing is, even with, like, say, Luke Cage and Daredevil and all that, right? We thought that was part of the, they're in the MCU, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we connected. Not an alternate reality for them. But here's the thing.
They mention events from the MCU.
Correct.
In the show, yeah.
But still, that doesn't mean that it's part of it. It could be an alternate reality also. Mm-hmm. So what we're faced with now is the grim reality that if they're going to reboot these characters, that they're not part of the MCU.
Right.
Because we would have a different Daredevil in the MCU. So that is just an alternate reality. And then it just came out, I think it was on Nerdist, that they said, like I think a week ago or less than a week ago, that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still an alternate reality. Like, not the same reality. So my question is, why would you do that, though? Like, why would you confuse people like that? And why would you, like, why is it has to do with Joss Whedon arguing with Marvel and just, like, why would there be two universes represented like that?
In my opinion, I think it's all one universe that they just don't reference. That's just my opinion. I think that was the point of the show.
Then you get into dangerous territory like Inhumans. Like, well, why didn't the humans stop Thanos either?
I mean, well,
I mean, they're not going to sit there and watch things. I mean, it's like you're in the moon, right? So, like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
they might not have even known it was happening. Like,
how could they not? Like, you see, like, the energy levels. Like computers detect. That's impossible. That's impossible. They would.
I mean, I agree. I agree. But the main answer is that series failed, and they don't want them in the story that they're banking on.
And you remember how when it was announced that the Inhumans was going to have a movie, I said flat out that's getting canceled?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. You were pissed about that too. I didn't understand it at the time. Now I get it though.
And I said, and you're like, no, like, well, everybody was like, oh no, they're not going to cancel a movie. They never did before. And I'm like, oh, they will. Yeah. Oh. And I got to tell you right now, this is why I'm worried about the Eternals.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I'm telling you right now, like, and I'm sure they watch us too. Not that they make things based on what we say, but you're making a huge mistake with the Eternals. Okay? You cannot build a movie around characters that Marvel didn't even build comics around. That was not even, they have done nothing with the Eternals in the comic to make it, oh my God. Okay?
Right.
In fact, in the current comics, they showed how much they sucked because they got wiped out in the Avengers comic currently. Like they were pieces of shit. Okay? They're dead in the comics, like the Celestials, they're dead, right? They're done. They're shit. They're garbage. So if in the Marvel Universe comic books, and they created this, if they don't even put an effort, and let me tell you something, Marvel's putting out books like you wouldn't believe, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets a book. We got a book on Silver Surfers having a rainbow hands. Mm-hmm. We're having comic books of characters that don't even exist, but now ongoing, like the alternate universe with Captain America and Sorcerer Supreme merged and all that stuff. We're getting comics for just about everything, right? They are not giving the comics to Eternals, no matter what. We're getting comics from, like, the Invaders and past stories of the Invaders and Captain America and Doc Ock is still, still in a clone body of Spider-Man superior. We're getting every book there is, right? We even got a book called Ziggy Piggy, which was from Timely Comics, which was became Marvel. That was like a joke thing, like their own Bugs Bunny and thing, whatever, right? We got a comic of that, right? We got every comic there is, and never, never, never do they have an Eternals comic, okay? So I'm saying this. The only time anybody knew what the Eternals was is because Captain America was dating a hot babe named Cersei, who was an Eternal and she was an Avenger. Okay? Nobody knows the Eternals. And I hate that they drop the name drop, call the Eternals. Nobody knows who the Eternals are. Even in the Marvel Universe, nobody's pushing the Eternals. So if your company that created you basically shit on you for decades, right? Now, how is the MCU, who they use the well of the comic books, right? If they use the well of the comic books to make great stories into movies, how could the Eternals be relevant? Even if you say that the Celestials and with the Eternals, right? Even if you say that in Endgame, right? Nobody gives a shit about the Eternals. It's going to fail. You cannot do it. You need a momentum in the comics or a history in the comics. Like, you don't just give a MCU movie to anybody. That's what I'm saying, Chris, right? I mean, am I wrong?
No, I agree with what you're saying, and the only answer I can come up with is that they're going to be radically different Eternals than what we're used to in the comics.
It's not going to do well. This is going to get canceled too. This is getting canceled. Just like Inhumans is getting canceled. There's no way. You can't do it. Okay? If your own company don't give a shit about you, this won't make it. Just like Shang-Chi, right? Now, I'm starting to see they're throwing Shang-Chi in the comics, right?
Uh-huh.
That worked back then, because back then we were into these martial arts movies, right? 5 Deadly Venoms and all these different things, and Bruce Lee and all that, right? That's why Shang-Chi started, like all that stuff with the 80s, 70s, 80s, you know what I'm saying? We're like, oh, Kung Fu Master, okay. You can't do that now. That's not going to fly either.
That one might have the advantage of kind of feeding off of that nostalgia.
You have to change the character, though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what are you going to make him, like a UFC?
No,
or some weird shit. I mean,
they'll stick to the origin, to a point. I think that that has that kind of like nostalgia thing, like, oh, I used to watch these movies when I was younger. Let's go see a Marvel version of it, Yeah. That one I could see working.
What I would do is I would cancel Shang-Chi and I would cancel Eternals and I would shock the shit out of everybody where you hire the whole Daredevil crew back into a Daredevil movie. And you involve the Kingpin, and you possibly have a thing with Sony, and you have see Spider-Man swinging through the city, different things going on, but big MCU Daredevil. I would do that. I would do the Defenders because I think Marvel wants to do that now, but they're pissed because of the Netflix thing. They still want to have the actual Defenders, which is Silver Surfer, Hulk, Doctor Strange, and Namor. Right? That might be a movie. But Eternals and Shang-Chi, no. Sorry, cancel that. Goodbye. My opinion. And I'm all for diversity. I'm all for different things, but no, won't work unless we get a thing in the comics for a couple of years and they do something cool with it. No, not at all. But anyway, I know I'm bad.
We'll just have to wait and see what they're planning to do. Because they might shock everybody.
And that might not even. They may change it because let me tell you something. I don't see no outline.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I see the phase, even if I see the phase, it could still be canceled like Inhumans did.
Yeah.
So, and they got to see that people, like YouTubers, are they really talking about Eternals? Oh, I can't wait, man. No, I don't see that anywhere.
Well, to be fair, I mean, everybody's just talking about Endgame right now.
So, I know, but still, even after that, no one's going to. I mean, are they going to be in the Endgame movie? That probably like an after credits scene, possibly, right? We'll see. All right. Oh, another thing came out today too. Like ABC is like, because they're like, well, Disney's concerned with the streaming service, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they own ABC. So what are you doing for ABC? Are you going to give them anything? Are you going to throw them a bone? What?
I don't know.
I mean, how would you handle that? Would you give them some new show?
If the ratings were there.
No, I'm saying just create a new show. Would you create a new show for ABC? Because right now, what do they got? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you have to look at the ratings and see if it warrants that,
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's it, right? For this
Yeah, I
stuff?
think so. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye for now.